Imagine being surrounded by two superpowers on the brink of war. Would your nation be forced to choose? That's the stark reality now facing the Philippines. Just days ago, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. dropped a geopolitical bombshell. In an exclusive interview with Firstpost, he warned, if a war erupts over Taiwan, the Philippines won't be able to stay neutral. His words unleashed a firestorm from Beijing, accusing Manila of playing with fire. Today, we break down what's at stake for the Philippines, the region, and global stability. President Marcos Jr. stated that if war breaks out over Taiwan, the Philippines will inevitably be drawn in due to geographic proximity and a large Filipino population in Taiwan, emphasizing humanitarian duty to evacuate citizens. They accused Manila of interfering in internal affairs and warned against violating the One China principle. Brief background on mounting China-Philippines tensions over the South China Sea, including the Philippines' more assertive diplomacy and military alignment. Explore why Marcos took a bold stance now, likely during his India visit, highlighting Manila's increasing alignment with US, India, and allies amid rising regional pressure. Philippines boosting transparency and publicizing Chinese maritime harassment. Expanded U.S. military presence under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement and India's growing maritime role. Present how Beijing responded, calling Marcos's remarks dangerous, claiming they break international norms and threaten regional peace. Dive into terminology, One China principle, and what playing with fire signals in diplomatic terms. Discuss possible ramifications. Will China ramp up maritime pressure, like ship blockades or aggressive maneuvers? Could this lead to deeper military alignment between the Philippines, the US, India, and other allies? What are the implications for ASEAN unity and future codes of conduct in the South China Sea? Reference Marcos's Transparency Initiative, which aims to bring global attention to China's gray zone tactics. The Filipino families living in Taiwan, who are at the heart of Marcos's humanitarian argument, and fishermen in disputed waters witnessing confrontations at sea. Tone, empathetic, reflecting the real-world stakes beyond political rhetoric. In today's volatile geopolitical climate, neutrality is often not a choice, it's a luxury. For the Philippines, words spoken in an interview may signal profound shifts in regional alignments. Marcos's warning wasn't just rhetoric. It's a bellwether for Asia's security architecture. Stay informed. Subscribe and ring the bell as we continue to track the Philippines' diplomatic balancing act in a world where location isn't just geography, it's destiny. Imagine being caught between two superpowers. I'm your name, and today, we're diving into why President Marcos's words are creating waves far beyond Manila. During an exclusive Firstpost interview, Marcos said that if war erupts over Taiwan, the Philippines cannot remain neutral, not by policy, but by reality. With thousands of Filipinos in Taiwan, avoiding a role in evacuation efforts would not be an option. China swiftly pushed back, accusing the Philippines of playing with fire and undermining the One China principle. Under Marcos, Manila has adopted a tactic called assertive transparency, shining a light on Chinese maritime provocations, seeking to build international support. At the end of the day, this isn't just about maps or alliances. It's about families, fishermen, students, people whose lives are at sea, on the move, and whose futures depend on how these words translate into action. When politicians trade words, the world hears speeches. But when superpowers trade threats, ordinary people pay the price. Picture Maria, a Filipina caregiver in Taipei. She sends home every paycheck to her parents in Cebu. Her life is simple until one morning, she wakes to air raid sirens. Her first thought isn't about politics. It's about whether she'll see her family again. Now, picture June, a fisherman from Zambales. Every day, he sails into waters his grandfather once fished freely. But now, Chinese Coast Guard ships tail his boat, sometimes blasting water cannons, sometimes cutting off his route. To him, the South China Sea isn't an abstract geopolitical chessboard. It's dinner on the table. And every confrontation at sea is a roll of the dice between safety and survival. If tensions in Taiwan boil over, Manila faces a monumental task: evacuating more than 150,000 Filipinos from the island. It's not just a logistical challenge. It's a humanitarian race against time, navigating a battlefield in the sky and a blockade at sea. One wrong step could risk lives or spark an incident with a foreign navy. And what about the families left behind in the Philippines? In Ilocos, in Mindoro, in Davao, mothers will wait by their phones, watching the news, praying their children, siblings, or spouses make it back alive. When a president speaks about war, this is the picture his words paint in their minds. Tens of thousands of young Filipinos study in Taiwan's universities. They came for degrees in engineering, medicine, and computer science. But if war breaks out, their classrooms could turn into shelters, their campuses into evacuation zones. The stakes aren't just human, they're economic. Taiwan is one of the Philippines' key trading partners. If conflict halts trade routes, factories in Cavite could shut down. Prices in Manila's markets could spike overnight. The average jeepney driver might suddenly be paying double for fuel. And let's not forget the Filipino soldiers. If war comes, they won't just be defending their coastline. They could be tasked with escorting evacuation convoys or guarding ports where Allied ships dock. The South China Sea could turn into a dangerous highway of warships, each maneuvering within firing range of the other. So here's the unspoken question. If the Philippines gets pulled into a Taiwan conflict, can it choose how deep it goes? Or will events spiral until Manila's decisions are made not in Malacanang, but in the war rooms of Washington, Beijing, and Taipei? The South China Sea and Taiwan Strait are no longer distant headlines. They are living, breathing realities that may decide the fate of an entire generation of Filipinos. Stay informed. Stay vigilant. Because in the storms that are coming, knowledge may be our first line of defense.